Hi everyone and welcome back to Enjoying School at Home. Today I'm talking about praying with your kids, all the different ways we can teach them to pray and pray together throughout our day, whether you are enjoying school at home or it is just another day with the family. So there's so much to say about prayer, but I wanted to jump in with just 4 different types of ways that we can pray with our kids, even the very young. So this is not something I only do with my school-age kids. Everyone is included, even our 16-month-old who says amen at the prayer, and he knows he's supposed to be quiet and put his hands together. And so I encourage you to include all of your children, even your preschool, toddlers, and little ones. So 4 different ways that you can pray. One is learning to do memorized prayers, doing memorized prayers, and I'll go into that. 2 is praying together as a family unit in a group setting. 3 is specifically teaching your kids about prayer requests and praises and praying for others. And 4 is encouraging them and teaching them, giving them tools to pray alone when they are having their alone time with God. So memorized prayers. There's a lot of places to start on praying memorized prayers. When my firstborn was a baby, someone gave us a Precious Moments prayers book, and that is what I kept it. We would read through it, but I'm just now getting to a point where I can open it up, and if I am going to do the same prayer with them every day at breakfast, it doesn't take long, maybe about a week, and then they can say it with me. And then week 2, they can even just do the prayer on their own. So when I suggest memorized prayers, I'm not saying that we drill our students and we tell them, no, you've got it wrong. You've got to, that's the wrong word. This is just something where I notice if I do it repeatedly, because my children are small in the grammar stage, they are sponges and they're taking everything in, that memorizing becomes something that's just natural for them. So if I repeat the same prayer out of a Precious Moments book or another book that I have that I'm going to show, it doesn't take really much effort at all, and they pick up on it and they enjoy getting to lead the prayers. So some examples are, I have Poems and Prayers for the Very Young, and guys, you can get on Amazon.com, you can search or Pinterest for different ideas for books, but this is going to have small little prayers. I like the table prayer, the table blessing prayer down here. And you can use this to, like I said, not drill your students to get them to memorize it, but just repeat it and do the same prayer every morning at breakfast for 2 weeks, and they will have it down. So I'm going to show you, this is the Precious Moments book that I mentioned. Like I said, it's pretty weathered. I got it when my firstborn was little. She's now 6. This is I have an index card to mark what we've been doing. I love listening to my toddler say this little prayer with me. He's 2.5. And we've done a couple different prayers in here that they really enjoy. It helps if it has a rhyme and a rhythm and a cadence to them. Now, one of the great benefits about using memorized prayers that you've just developed over time is that after a couple months in, you can ask for if anyone would like to lead the prayer, and then you can watch your kindergartner or your first grader, these little bitty children, feel confident in leading a prayer by themselves because they've done it enough times that they know it. And this is a big deal when they have that desire, the initiation to step up and say, I want to lead the prayer, or when they tell you, no, Mommy, I want to do it by myself. And that can be a really special thing. So memorized prayers definitely have their place, and I gave you some options. You can go online and check those out. Let's talk about the next one. So praying together as a group. This is something we initiated when we started our circle time this summer, and I came across an acronym called ACTS, A-C-T-S. A for adoration, C for confession, T for thanksgiving, and S for supplication. Now, those are some big words. My little guys don't know the meanings of all of those words yet, but I can model and I can example for them. So what that looks like is when we're sitting in a circle for our circle time on the floor, I might start with, God, you are so big. And then we're going to go around the circle, and we usually have a conversation and talk about it before we start the prayer, and I have them talk about what they're going to say. So we just do adoration right now, and everybody goes around the circle. God, you are so big. And my next one might say, God, you are loving. And then the next one might say, God, you created everything. And then maybe the circle is back around to me. Now, once we've got a really good rhythm for doing adoration all the way around, then I will introduce confession. God, I'm sorry, Mommy didn't have a lot of patience. That's a good one. Mommy didn't have a lot of patience. And then whatever child A is going to say, and then child B, and we come back around full circle. Now, we're not doing all of Acts right now. I have a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I just don't think we're all the way ready for that. But we are modeling, we're talking about what we're going to say, and then we say, okay, now let's pray. And we go around the circle, and they love to take turns. So just in a suggestion on how to start it, very simple, very easy to model, to example, and introduce group prayer and the structure of using prayer like Acts for ACTS. Now, the next one, I have some fun things to show you. It is praying for others, and specifically prayer requests. I wanted my kids to know the importance of we don't just thank God for making things, but we also want to lift up requests for other people as well. My children can be, like all children, small children, they can be a little egocentric, and we want to make sure that we are thinking about others and lifting others up in prayer. So some ideas for lifting others up in prayer is doing something like a prayer board in your home. So I'm going to show, here's a picture of ours in our home. I really enjoyed getting to make this. I went to like a home store, found the board I wanted. It's actually a board for pictures, to post a collage of pictures, and instead I used colored index cards to write out specific prayer requests for people in our lives. And that hangs up by our breakfast area. Now, something I loved about this was started actually a couple years ago. So when my first child was only 4 and my second child was 3, what I loved is that, of course, they couldn't read what was on there. But if they knew their colors, then all they had to do in the morning or at dinner, whenever we were praying, was to pick a color. And so they would say, I want the red one. I want to pray for the red one. And then I would read what that is, and we would pray about it together. So that's another great way. If you have preschool children that can't read yet, you can still bring this idea to life by doing colors, and they can pick a color from a prayer board. Another way to utilize prayer requests or prayer prompts is a mason jar or any kind of jar, and doing a prayer jar. So you can use paper if you have older kids and write down your prayer requests. I personally really like using popsicle sticks, and so they can just pull one out, and this one is for our Nana. So when we're going to pray for Nana today, and they have fun getting to pick from the prayer requests or prayer prompt jar. This for in our home, since we have the prayer request board, this is a little bit more prayer prompts when we're just going to do prayer prompting. The last one is using index cards or any type of prayer cards where you're writing out specific prayers, and you can leave these on a kitchen counter somewhere and rotate through each day of the week. You could have 7 cards and 7 specific prayer requests that you're working on, and rotate through those as well. So I love all of those ideas. Now let's talk about how to encourage them when they are going to pray alone, when they are having their alone time with God. Through conversation, when talking to my little ones, they don't always feel like they know what to say. So even though I'm modeling prayer or we're doing memorized prayer, as they are spiritually growing and they want to just talk openly with God, one way to do that at bedtime or in a quiet one-on-one time, if you're doing one-on-one devotions, is to introduce prayer prompts. So this is what prayer prompts can look like. You can find these on Pinterest. You can Google them. There's lots of free printouts for prayer prompts. I wrote some examples because I didn't want any copyright infringements. So I just wrote some down as examples. As you encourage them to work through these prayer prompts, they can become more confident and more free speak, pray, as they're having their alone time with God. Now, there are so many different times of the day that you can incorporate prayer, whether it is a school at home day or not. You can do breakfast table, you can do circle time. We like to pray at the beginning of our school day, and we do specific prayers for our students, for their own personal struggles and growing areas that we are working on in character development. We also like to pray with Daddy at dinner time and then alone time prayer at bedtime. It's a lot of prayer, and that doesn't always work out perfectly. Sometimes the day just gets out of control and out of hand, and it doesn't look like that, and that's okay. Remember, take it, try it, toss it philosophy. If you find something you like, please take it and try it. If you don't like it, toss it. Don't worry about it. If you have completely different other ideas, I would love to hear about them. I'm always looking for new and creative ways to pray with my kids and teach them about the joys of prayer. So just to recap, guys, we talked about memorized prayer and the benefits of them getting to initiate and lead their own prayers. We talked about praying together as a group and using a structure such as acts, adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication, and teaching them how to go about that in a taking turns kind of circle setting. And then we also talked about prayer requests, tools you can use like prayer jars and prayer index cards and prayer request boards, and even how to differentiate that with colors if you don't have readers yet, if your kids are still itty bitty. And the last one is using something like prayer prompts to encourage them to start thinking on their own on how to talk when they're alone with God. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you found something you loved. I hope that you are motivated and excited to give something new a try. And most of all, guys, I hope that you are enjoying your kids and enjoying praying with them. Everyone, have a great week, and I will see you back here. Please subscribe, and I will be back with more new ideas for enjoying your school and your time with your kids at home.